can't get you there. I guess he's an Xbox and I'm more an Atari. But the way you play your game ain't fair. I picture the fool that falls in love with you. Oh, she's a gold digger. Well, just don't you know. Ooh, I've got some news for you.
Good morning. I'm Erin Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we are on the brink, the morning show on KCAA, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and FM 102.3. We survived the heat wave yesterday.
Oh, no. I
said yesterday.
Hold on. It's hot, and it's getting hotter, and there's a good reason.
Why?
Because Todd Brinker's in studio with us this morning.
Okay, but pull that mic up to you, Todd. I can't hear you.
Good morning, everybody.
That's much better.
How are you doing?
Doing great.
See, we're bringing the heat.
We're bringing the heat. So for those of you who have not or didn't used to listen to the show a while ago, I'm being really specific now. Todd was a regular co-host on the show on Tuesdays and Thursdays while Tobin went running. He joins us in the summers, and he also does his Tech Time with Todd Brinker, or 2-Minute Tech with Todd Brinker, and I hope he brings that back because it's just a lot of fun. You're a tech guy.
I am a tech guy. As we get towards the end of the summer here, I've been talking, and I think I'll be back with you guys at the end of August for a while as Tobin's out doing his early morning runs, and I'll try to do my best to fit into those size 10s.
Yes.
It'd be a tight fit. My feet are a little bit bigger, but so my mouth. So hey, I'm proportional.
So if your foot is bigger than your mouth, then you don't stick your foot in your mouth as often.
Ooh.
As others.
Not so much. It just means it's a tighter fit.
So yesterday was sweltering, but I went to the coolest event. Before we really get started, I want to tell everybody about this event. So San Manuel Band of Mission Indians, you know, the beautiful casino up on the hill in Highland.
Yes.
They are they did a groundbreaking yesterday, and it was a lovely event. Everybody, lots and lots of people were there, you know, city muckety-mucks and nonprofit leaders and lots of media, et cetera, et cetera.
Job title, you know, there's the mayor.
Yes, it's on the business card. And the muckety-mucks.
I like those guys. That's my job. That's the job I want.
Hey, Tobin, can you switch Todd's mic?
This mic not working. We'll try
okay.
again.
Todd, I'm going to give you my mic.
It makes you sound like you're
off.
in a tunnel.
Yeah.
But I am.
Just take the whole stand. All right. So then we went to the event, and it was beautiful, but it was outdoors and it was hot. So it was under a tent and up at the San Manuel Casino, and they had fans going, and there was you know, we were in the shade, so it wasn't as hot as if we weren't in the shade. But they are launching this incredible new hotel spa with like massive pool area with like 3 different pools or 2 pools and a spa. It is going to be the most beautiful resort hotel in the region. I'm so excited for this thing to be built. So if you just want to get away and you know you really don't want to go that far because you only have a weekend, you can totally go to this place once it's built, and it will be, you know, everything your heart desires. You know,
they're going to get a lot of tourists.
Okay, did you grab his mic?
No, I grabbed a different mic.
It's magical mics. I can hear myself better now on this mic.
Yeah,
We've got
it
one
is
good
a
mic.
much better mic.
Are we on?
Okay, so I just. All right, so we're having technical difficulties. Okay, I just turned you back on.
Okay, am I on?
Yeah, it still sounds weird, but yeah. I don't know.
That's all right. We can do it like, you know, the Eagles were singing. It's like the bass guy leans into the mic and they share the mic together.
You have to harmonize when you talk then.
Hello, we can do this. Hello.
That means you have to be able to carry a tune in a bucket. Tell you what, why don't we go to an early break and we can get this technical difficulty worked out. I'm Erin Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And I'm Todd Brinker.
And we will be right back.
For several years, KCAA has been marketing the Youngevity brand of nutritional and personal care products. Our experience with Youngevity has been 100% positive, so we are pleased to recommend them to you. Regarding nutritional supplements, we recommend Pollen Burst in the berry flavor and Tangy Tangerine 2.0 in the tablet form. For regularity issues, we recommend 3-Day Cleanse, and for personal care, we recommend Morning Hydration Cream. You can shop online for Youngevity at www.kcaateam.com. Or you can order by phone by calling 800-982-3197 and tell customer support that you are part of the KCAA team. Youngevity is an American company based in San Diego. Call Youngevity at 800-982-3197 and ask about monthly auto ship that allows you to buy Youngevity products at wholesale prices. That number again, 800-982-3197.
Turner's Fine Carpets is a family-owned business providing generations of great service. They specialize in carpeting, laminate flooring, installation, and satisfied customers. Turner's Fine Carpets is locally owned and operated by Dad, Larry Turner, along with his son, Dan, who works side by side in the office with the help from their loyal employee, Frankie. Before Larry, it was Dennis Turner, Larry's dad, who started this family-owned business. With 3 generations and nearly 60 years of experience serving the same community we all grew up in, Turner's Fine Carpets must be doing something right. They serve Yucaipa and all the surrounding areas of the Inland Empire. You can find Turner's Fine Carpets of Yucaipa on Yelp. For a direct quote, Turner's is located at 35168 Yucaipa Boulevard in Yucaipa, just above California Street, or at 909-797-6100. That's 909-797-6100. Or Google Turner's Fine Carpets of Yucaipa.
If you or a loved one was seriously injured in an accident with a semi-truck or an 18-wheeler truck, you need to act fast. I'm attorney Daniel Rudbari. I know how to fight truck companies. Call me 800-325-1454 for your free consultation. 800-325-1454. Truck accident cases are different than an auto versus auto accident. There are so many more issues involved when dealing with a truck accident case. There are federal regulations and state regulations, several different companies that may be involved. I can immediately gather the evidence, get you the medical care you need with no deductible and no copay to you, and get you the compensation and the money you deserve for your injuries. And if there's no recovery, there's no fees charged to you. I'm attorney Daniel Rudbari. I know how to fight truck companies. Call me 800-325-1454 for your free consultation. 800-325-1454.
This segment is sponsored by Tammy Sutherland of Coldwell Banker Kivett Teeters Realty, where she makes it her business to put happy people in happy homes. It's Tammy Sutherland's passion to list your house and put you in just the right house that you could call home.
She made so much extra effort to sell our house and make sure that we understood every step of the way. Tammy always had our best interests at heart.
I didn't think we'd ever find a house we loved, but with Tammy's help, we did. Now I get to mow the lawn every weekend. But then again, that's why we had kids. Hey, Tyler!
Tammy did way more than we ever expected in a real estate agent. Without Tammy, we would still be renting.
So if you want your perfect house, contact Tammy Sutherland at Coldwell Banker Kivett Teeters Realty in Yucaipa, across from Yucaipa High School. Whether you're looking to buy or sell, it's homesbytammy.net or on Facebook at facebook.com/Realtor Tammy Sutherland at 909-556-2094 for Realtor Tammy Sutherland, and we thank her for her support.
KCAA.
Welcome back. I'm Erin Brinker.
I'm Tobin Brinker.
And you're Todd Brinker. I was going to say, and we're joined by our special guest,
I'm just so
Todd
used to throwing
Brinker.
it right in there, sneaking in before anybody has a chance to say anything.
So the mic
so
sounds
used
good.
to, meaning like not in the last year, but you know.
And Tobin, you sounded better too.
Well, thank you. I've been working on my voice. It's a thing that I've been doing.
The diaphragm exercises, right?
So Tobin, why don't you and Todd pick a story?
Pick a story.
I always liked Mary Had a Little Lamb because of the rhyming parts, you know.
Well, the candy company story I thought was kind of good. So apparently, a major old candy company just suddenly closed. If you've ever had those Nico wafers,
Which taste like chalk.
Yeah.
They also make the little hearts that also taste like chalk. They're basically a chalk company.
Yes. Well, apparently chalk is no longer
Palatable?
palatable. So the owner of the company behind the chalky, colorful confections, such as the Nico wafers and Sweethearts, has unexpectedly shut down operations at its Massachusetts plant and hasn't said if candy production will continue. The Boston Globe reports that Round Hill Investments announced Tuesday that it's selling Nico brands to another manufacturer and closing down its Revere plant.
An unidentified manufacturer. It's top secret stuff.
Yeah.
You know, don't want the Chinese to figure out the secret, ingredients behind the scene.
It's chalk.
Yeah. Gypsum.
Yes. The company had recently purchased Nico for $17.3 million at a bankruptcy auction in May. Round Hill did not identify the new owners. The closure came as a shock to the close to 230 workers. This is the part that always kind of ticks me off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, no warning.
Who were at the plant, who said they were told to pick up their final paychecks by Friday.
That said, the company had already been in bankruptcy proceedings and got bought out by this company a few months ago. So everybody there had to know the company was on shaky ground. Although you would hope that, hey, new owners, we got some new investment, a new injection of cash into the company. The company's going to be good. No, we're selling it to somebody. We're not going to tell you who.
Yeah. Well, people are. I've seen folks online already making jokes about the chalkiness of these things, and I wonder why they went out of business. I don't get it.
I don't understand. And they would show up at Halloween. I'm like, and you look at the people like, you're too cheap to buy a real candy. I'm not going to eat this stuff.
They still wrap it in wax paper.
They do.
And Nico wafers, amongst their chalk flavors, had a black licorice chalk flavor, which always to me was like,
why?
Why? I mean, I have issues with like chocolate flavoring. It's like, great, if you want chocolate, eat chocolate candy. Don't eat something that is chocolate flavored. It's like American cheese isn't cheese. It's like,
no.
Why do we in America have this desire to make things that sort of are like something that we could have anyway, but no, we want something that's sort of like that.
So I had a friend
because it's cheaper.
Yeah.
I had a friend who was teasing his wife because I guess she liked these candies. He says, "Well, now you'll just have to have Tums instead."
That's
pretty much
awesome.
the same ingredients, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, it's a not so sweet treat, and it cures your indigestion.
Yes.
Yeah, but I have to say, I kind of feel the same way about Hershey's chocolate.
Really?
It tastes like wax to me. It is waxy.
It's American chocolate.
It's wax.
Not like that freaky European stuff that melts when you look at it.
I know, that's creamy and it just tastes so good. Yeah, for those of you all who have never had real chocolate, and I mean, like if you only had American chocolate, go into an Aldi. I'm sure there's one near you, and grab some German chocolate.
I thought Aldi was like a perfume shop.
No, Aldi is a grocery store, and they have excellent prices. So anywho, go into Aldi and grab yourself some German chocolate, because it's a German company, and you will be in heaven. I guarantee it.
Yeah, I'm a guy like Vaughn's, Ralph's, Albert Sons. These are good American names. Stater Brothers. Aldi?
Yes. But do you go to Trader Joe's?
Occasionally, but unfortunately, the Trader Joe's that that's nearest to me is like 2.5 miles the opposite direction in which I live.
Like you ever go.
Yeah, it's so funny. Have you ever noticed that when you live in a town, there's people who live in the town, and they, regardless of where they live in the town, they live to the west side, and other people live to the east side. And it's like, and what I mean by that is like, your kids go to school east of you, your grocery store is east of you, your work is
true.
east of you, and that's the side of town that you participate in.
Right.
Regardless of where you live. You could live on the other side of town and you go across town to do your shopping because that's the direction you go to work. That's where your kids go to school. And so that's your side of town. And it just so happens Trader Joe is on the other side of the tracks for me.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I have to, but Trader Joe's, do you know
and I like the store.
There's a relationship between Trader Joe's and Aldi.
Really?
Yes.
They've been dating for a while?
No, they're brothers.
Yeah.
Literally. Brothers started the two stores.
That's very interesting. And I seriously, I wasn't joking. When you said Aldi, I thought it was a perfume shop. I've seen the store.
The prices are excellent.
Never been in one.
But
couldn't even tell you where there is one.
The store that I shop at was started by brothers too.
Stater Brothers.
Yes.
Stater Brothers.
That's my store. Those are our guys. They're right here. That's our local guy.
Our local one quit carrying the guacamole mix that you shared with me, and
the
it's like
Frontera.
It's like, why do I go in there anymore?
I know. Right. So Rick Bayless,
trauma.
who is he's American, but he is renowned for being a Mexican. He's a chef, but he makes Mexican food, and he does it really, really well. And he's got a line of Mexican sauces and mixes.
Any Mexican or Hispanic heritage, or just
not at all?
He just likes the flavors and says, "Do
loves
this."
Mexico.
Yeah.
And so he, I think his restaurant's in Chicago, and he absolutely loves Mexico, and so that's what he specializes in is Mexican food.
I know it's gotten better around the country. I lived in Pittsburgh for a while, and if you put anything inside of a tortilla, you were the best Mexican chef for 100 miles.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah, it was.
I have
was
to
difficult.
well, and I know that's true because I was looking for an enchilada recipe, and I went on like Genius Kitchen, and Genius Kitchen used to be called food.com, and people would post their favorite recipes,
Right.
and you could rate them, et cetera, et cetera. And every single one of them, it's like I don't know that they could legally call those enchiladas, because what they were throwing in with the enchiladas is like, oh my gosh, where did you learn to make that? Ew.
Yeah. I mean, the best Mexican food restaurant in town served unseasoned ground beef, and that was your meat option.
Oh,
Unseasoned?
Unseasoned, because apparently they thought that the folks in Pittsburgh couldn't handle the spices or something. I really don't know. Now, you go into any Italian restaurant and you get your head blown off with garlic and spices, but I don't know. The Mexican food there was a disappointment.
To me, bland food is just why.
Right.
Why eat it? Because it's just bland. I want flavor.
Yeah.
Although I have to tell you, yesterday I went to we had lunch at the buffet at San Manuel because we were there for the big event, and I tried something. It was this pork bun, which is apparently an Asian thing, and it was kind of bluish and round.
Okay, pork and blue, don't we go?
No, it was kind of blue, and it was, I don't know why they call it a pork, but there's no pork in it. It was just a bun that had a weird, I didn't care for it. And I usually really like Asian food.
Is it a bun that you're supposed to serve pork with? I mean,
it was dished there by itself.
That's funny.
It was bizarre. So I guess maybe people who know what it is and what the purpose is, they
can explain this thing to me. Well, blue food in general is not something that's high on my list unless it comes in a glass with some ice cubes,
Right?
Yeah.
I didn't get it. I didn't get it. So yeah, not really at all. So there is a fire burning in Idlewild, and apparently they already got the arsonist. He was throwing flares out of his car window.
Yeah, genius there, huh?
Oh my gosh. And I personally have no patience or tolerance or whatever. I'm glad that I'm not a cop because I get so angry at these people. The terror that is caused by these fires, not to mention the risk of life and
absolutely,
and property and all of that.
The one time you want a cop with anger management issues, where is he? I mean, because really, this guy is that's unacceptable.
Exactly. I mean, he should be just thrown in the middle of what he created.
Yeah.
Let him deal with it.
So, it's interesting, people talking about the fire, that's exactly what people are saying, right? That if people who create that kind of damage, that should be their punishment, right? Oh, you started fires? Oh, we're going to burn you, right? That's
total vigilantism, and I know that, and that can't be the law, and that's not what we're about. But I'm so angry at this guy, and all homes have already burned.
Oh yeah, me too. They're calling it the Cranston fire, though. When I first heard that, I was like, okay, so Breaking Bad ended a few years ago. I didn't realize he was that hard up for work. Right?
It was not started by an RV where they were cooking meth.
Yeah, like come on.
So the article that you have here also talks about some of the ancillary damage. So 3,800 people in Idlewild were without power.
Yeah.
So imagine with the heat that we have right now.
Yes.
Right? And the fires now, of course, cause all this air quality and all this heat. Mm-hmm. And on top of this, and now you've got no power for air conditioning. The people, if you're up in Idlewild, you got to just get out of there.
Yeah, at least they've got a little altitude. There was a whole section of L.A. down that was down for most of yesterday as well. Not related to the fire, but granted, it's a little cooler that direction than it is here, but again, not much.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine. I've got a friend who has that deal with the energy where they can selectively shut you down for rolling outages and stuff, and their air was down for half a day on Tuesday, and I can't imagine.
So I'm actually worried about that rule because my school district is in that program. And we're going back to work next week with all this hot temperatures. And the worst thing that happens is when they do those rolling brownouts at a school.
Right.
I mean, you're there stuck in a class with 30-something kids, no air conditioning, no lights.
Bunch of sweaty seventh graders.
You can't teach. You
There's
can't
nothing
teach.
quite as ripe as a sweaty seventh
Yeah,
grader.
they haven't quite figured out the whole personal hygiene thing yet, and so to start with, it's already iffy, and then you crank the temperature up about 15 degrees in the classroom, and the kids just go.
I just can't believe that they signed this up for as a school, though. I mean, this is a school district.
Yeah,
It's kind of a
yeah.
crazy thing.
Is the savings really worth the?
No,
Yeah.
no,
Because
no.
I bet you the administrators' offices all have little window. They all brought in their own little air conditioners and have those plugged in. So it's like, yeah, we'll do that. We'll save a few bucks.
Those teachers, they can put up with it. Maybe that's something that the union should take up,
Right.
collectively bargain that you cannot
right.
turn off the air conditioner when it's hot.
See, that's a
Right.
secret. That's their secret strategy. It's like, we'll make this conversation about air conditioning instead of pay. We won't pay them a dime more. You want your air conditioning on? You've got to have that laugh.
That's funny.
Oh, that's just evil, Todd. Good thing you're not an administrator. So all of Pine Cove and Idlewild and Fern Valley have been evacuated.
Wow.
And Tobin and I love Idlewild.
Yeah.
And our place is always the Fern Valley Inn. We love the Fern Valley Inn, and it's nestled in the trees. And oh my gosh, if that burns down, I'm going to
You
be
guys
so
been going
sad.
there for years.
For
Just
years.
love Idlewild, yeah. So, let's hope everything's okay there and everybody's safe. They get this sucker under control.
So apparently, we talked about Demi Lovato yesterday, and apparently Demi Lovato and her pals, quote unquote, were on a binger. They did a bender the night before the overdose. They actually had Narcan on hand.
Because when you know that might happen.
Yeah.
Well,
God.
yay for the prescient move to have something there to save you from doing something incredibly stupid.
Wow.
It'd be nice if there was the ability to not do something incredibly stupid.
Right.
But
So prior to her apparent drug overdose on Tuesday, Demi Lovato's friends had a strong suspicion an incident like this would occur. She and her friends were on a bender the entire night, an insider tells People. They keep Narcan on hand for such situations. They were prepared for this. The people she'd been hanging around with lately aren't her real friends. No kidding. They don't have her best interests at heart. She pushed away her true friends. The source adds she had to find creative and sneaky ways to get drugs because her team and those that really care about her try to keep a close watch on her. The Sorry Not Sorry singer was rushed to the hospital, of course, on Tuesday morning following an incident at her Hollywood Hills home. According to the emergency call audio, Lovato had been unconscious prior to the arrival of EMTs and was revived by her friends with Narcan, an emergency medicine used to reverse the effects of narcotic use. Though reports have indicated the overdose was heroin-related, a source close to Lovato claimed to People that it was not. Well, then the Narcan wouldn't have worked. If it wasn't heroin overdose, the Narcan wouldn't have worked.
yeah, I mean, it's, it may have done nothing. It may have saved her. We don't know the details, so we're all just guessing at this point. But,
Right.
But yeah.
So we talk, and normally we don't cover celebrity news, but we've been talking about the opiate epidemic across the country,
Right.
And she just happens to be a very, very public person. Obviously, she's a celebrity, and she still struggles with this addiction. So I wanted to give an update.
Yeah, and I'm glad you put that little comment in there, because when I first saw this, I look at these kinds of things, and personally, I look at celebrity news and go, well, it's celebrity. The word news doesn't belong in that sentence.
Yeah.
So-
well, it's true.
But in this case, I think you're absolutely right. I think it's a window into an issue that is more global than just what's she wearing this next series of
right,
shows
and who's she
things like
dating
that.
and all that
Right.
nonsense I don't care about. Although I got to tell you, Yahoo News, because I go through all of the news. We subscribe to lots of newspapers. It's all online. And I go through Google News and I go through Yahoo News as part of the prep. And Yahoo News is celebrity, who's dating who said what about. Oh my gosh, that's not news. It's not.
Yeah, it's maddening to actually turn on like the nightly news, and half of the show is this kind of stuff.
Yes.
I mean, someone who was on one of the 47 Housewives shows has done something bad somewhere, and we're supposed to be shocked and care. And it's like it's like the news has turned into a marketing arm for the shows.
But we love the Housewives, the Real Housewives
Of Orange County and
New Jersey.
Those are the two that I watch.
We're addicts, Todd. There's no Narcan for that, though.
So I got to tell you, and then we have to go to break, but it's my guilty pleasure. You're not really supposed to gossip about people, right? I mean, but human beings like to gossip. And the Real Housewives put themselves out there, and you can talk all kinds of smack about them and not feel guilty.
It's interactive TV.
It really is. So I actually
guilt-free. You can be guilt-free and trash talk somebody because hey, that's what they're there for.
That's what they get paid for.
Erin yells at the TV when those shows are on. Those are her stories.
They're my stories. I can't help it. All right, with that, it's time for a break. I'm Erin Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And I'm still Todd Brinker.
And we are on the brink, the morning break, the morning show on KCAA. We'll be right back.
KCAA Loma Linda, 1050 AM, K292 FQ Riverside, and K293 CF Moreno Valley.
NBC News Radio, I'm Lisa Carter. An Arizona Department of Public Safety trooper in training is dead, a second officer injured after an overnight shooting. Colonel Frank Milstead says it happened after they approached the driver of a car along an interstate in a Phoenix suburb.
During the struggle, one of the troopers lost his firearm to the subject. The subject fired at least 2 rounds from the duty weapon, striking Officer Dallin Doris.
Doris is expected to recover. Authorities say a 17-year veteran of the Milwaukee Police Department was killed yesterday by a suspect wanted for gun and drug charges. Today's the court-imposed deadline for the Trump administration to reunite thousands of children with their immigrant parents. A court filing this week said over 900 parents who were separated from their children aren't eligible because of criminal records or other issues. And several GOP members of the House are trying to impeach the Deputy Attorney General over his handling of the Russia probe. Lisa Carter, NBC News Radio.
It's time for traffic on KCAA. I'm Erin Brinker. In Banning, on Highway 243 southbound between Wesley Street and the between Wesley Street and Highway 74, Pines to Palms Highway, there's a large brush fire that has all lanes blocked. They're under mandatory evacuations. In Hemet, there's a large brush fire. It extends into Hemet. The 74 eastbound between Blackburn Road and the 243, which is the Idlewild National Forest Highway, is also under mandatory evacuations, and so is Mountain Center. On the 74 Palms Scenic Byway westbound between Apple Canyon Road and Blackburn Road, that's blocked. In Riverside on the 215 northbound after Box Springs Road, an accident has the right lane blocked. And in Fontana, a stalled vehicle is in the center divider on the 10 westbound after Cherry Avenue. This has been your traffic report on KCAA. We are the stations that leave no listener behind. I'm Erin Brinker.
From the KCAA Weather Center, I'm Alvin in Washington. Excessive heat warning for Greater San Bernardino until Friday evening. Areas of smoke this morning, then sunny, scorching hot, 107. Clear, warm tonight, low 72. Sunny and hot on Friday, a high of 103. I'm Alvin in Washington, broadcasting live from the Tri-City Center at the 10 and 210 freeways. We are the trifecta of talk in Southern California, KCAA, 102.3 FM Riverside, 106.5 FM Redlands, and The Legacy, 1050 AM, Loma Linda, San Bernardino.
The Tri-City Shopping Center in Redlands is serving up some really cool ice cream at La Micho Acana. Then get your chocolates and other delights from C's Candies. Moms and future moms who visit the mall can cool off and relax while they get treated like royalty at Shiny Nails or Francis Nails and then pampered at Texture Hair. The Tri-City Center is filled with retailers who care about you. Shop at the Tri-City Center in Redlands and see why they call it the mall with a heart.
Life insurance is one of those subjects that many people want to change the subject rather than admit they probably don't have enough. That's why State Farm Agent Joe Amlani in Redlands focuses on how the benefits of life insurance actually live on by asking people to think in terms of life without having to sell the house insurance or life without having to give up college insurance. Find out how the benefits of life insurance can live on for your family. Call State Farm Agent Joe Amlani in Redlands at 909-894-4619 and put the life back into life insurance.
Drivers, when it's time to visit the DMV, avoid the long lines and save time by calling toll-free 833-DMV-LINE. That's 833-DMV-5463.
Broadcasting more local radio programs than any other station in California, we are KCAA.
Welcome back. I'm Erin Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And I'm Todd Brinker.
And we are on the Brink, the morning show on KCAA, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and FM 102.3. So excited to check in again with our through hiker correspondent. We're going to call her correspondent. Her trail name is super classy. She has been walking all over the United States to raise awareness about public lands. Her name is Michelle Markel. Michelle, welcome to the show, and tell us where you are.
Thank you so much, Erin and Tobin. It's so great to check in with you guys again. I'm currently in Duncannon, Pennsylvania, which is a small trail town on the Appalachian Trail.
Wow. Okay, so you started at the bottom in Georgia, right?
I actually started this particular hike on the Pinhoti Trail in Alabama at Flag Mountain, which is the southernmost Appalachian mountain over 1,000 feet. So about 450 miles before the beginning of the Appalachian Trail.
Wow. So you through hiked the PCT a couple of years ago, which is the Pacific Crest Trail, for those of you who have not heard that term before. How is the Appalachian Trail or Appalachian Trail different from the Pacific Crest Trail?
Well, they really can't be compared. I mean, really the only similarity they have is that they're both really long. The PCT is kind of like, it's my home trail because I'm from out there, but it's more about like big epic views, and the terrain is a lot easier because it's graded for horses, whereas the Appalachian is a foot trail only, and so it's a lot more technical. There are steeper ups and downs and some scrambling. Like I've actually had to go up and down ladders and do some rock face scrambling as well.
Wow.
So it's definitely a more technical trail, but the PCT is a different, more difficult trail to hike logistically because there are long stretches with no food or no water. But on this trail, you usually have both pretty frequently.
Well, and it's more heavily traveled in the Appalachian Trail, isn't it?
Yeah, this is definitely the busiest of the three long hikes. But the PCT is fairly busy as well, but this trail is definitely a lot more popular.
So there's been very, very heavy rain throughout the east and mid-Atlantic, the northeast and mid-Atlantic areas. So you are staying with the Trail Angel at the moment.
Yes, there was an unusual tropical storm that started on Saturday, and so since then, actually, I don't know exactly how much, but probably around 10 inches of rain have fallen just on Saturday. So,
crazy.
In Pennsylvania now, and I know that this is happening, up and down the East Coast. The tropical storm basically just moved up from Florida and is working its way up into the Northeast. Just dumped tons and tons of rain, and so there's widespread flooding here in central Pennsylvania. Towns have had to be evacuated by the National Guard, and a lot of the water sources have become so high that they're impassable, and the trail itself is actually underwater in a lot of places.
So you're on the Susquehanna River?
The Susquehanna River passes by Duncannon, yes.
And it's
so
flooded, because I've seen some
from
pictures.
Where I am. What's that?
I've seen some pictures. It's flooded pretty badly?
Yeah, it's risen a ton just since I've been here. I arrived here on Sunday and have just sort of sat tight waiting to see what happens with the weather and the water, which has gotten progressively worse as it continues to dump rain.
Wow. So you are doing this to raise awareness. You've got a great website. If people go to supportpubliclands.com, you're doing this to raise awareness about the importance of public lands.
Yes, absolutely. This is my second year doing this. So last year I basically drove around the country hitting public land sites all over the country in a van exploring different public land areas with locals who would take me out and show me what they enjoy doing on public lands. And then this year this is a very loud street.
No worries.
And then this year I've been hiking National Scenic and Recreation Trails in honor of the 50th anniversary of our National Trail System Act, which made the designation of all of our national recreation, historic, and scenic trails possible. So that includes both the Pinhoti, which is the trail I started on in Alabama, and the Appalachian Trail, and then also the Florida Trail, which I got to hike about 100 miles of back in January.
Wow. And so are our national parks and our national public, state and local public lands too, is everything under threat at the moment?
Well, I don't know that all of our public lands are under threat. I know that certainly some of them are. Some of the national monuments have been downgraded, and, their national monument designation has been taken away. And so that's definitely an issue for us because we're the public landowners, and we have generally had little to no say in what happens with the lands that we own and that we pay for through our taxes.
Wow, that's true. We don't. And if, there should be public land set aside in every state that people can enjoy and get out in.
Absolutely. I've definitely noticed that once you get east of, say, Colorado, public lands become fewer and farther in between. It's actually amazing that a trail like the Appalachian exists. I think that were something like that to come up now, it would be nearly impossible to designate a scenic trail such as the Appalachian just because there are so few public lands to actually string together to make a long trail.
Wow, even up in the mountains? Because, these trails are usually up in the high country.
They tend to go into the high country, but, the East Coast is so hugely populated that a lot of the land is privately owned. And so on the Appalachian Trail specifically, there are actually easements designated through private land. So there's a lot of walking through people's cow pastures and, walking on the sides of people's property in order for us to be able to complete a continuous footpath from Georgia to Maine. So in the West, we have a lot more public lands available, but as issues come up, like national monuments being redesignated or designations being taken away without public landowner input, then, it's going to be harder and harder for long trails to be designated. Like in Texas, for example, only approximately 1.3% of the entire state of Texas is public land. So the longest trail in Texas is the Lone Star Trail, and it's only 96 miles, which is incredible if you think about the giant size of that state.
Oh, I'm actually blown away. I'm blown away because
you would have thought that Texas would have had more open spaces. Really, I've been to West Texas. There's mostly sand and tumbleweeds.
Yeah, Texas is massive. As a matter of fact,
huge.
If you're driving from Los Angeles to Houston, El Paso is halfway.
Half the trip is in Texas.
Texas is a giant state, and you're looking, and it's a beautiful state, beautiful. But when you're looking at it, especially in the hill country, it's a gorgeous state, but almost all of it is privately owned, and so the public doesn't have access to it. The problem for us is, as the general public, is that when there are so few public lands, those public lands that are available tend to be, heavily used or overloved, as I like to say.
Right. And so, let's talk about some of the behavior of people on the trails, especially, as a thru hiker, you've seen everything. The quality of the trail needs to be kept. And we didn't prep for this, but I'm putting you on the spot. It's important that the trails be left how you find them. Are you finding a lot of litter and, damage to the trails as you're kind of walking all over the place?
It sort of depends on the area. There are a number of different clubs along the Appalachian that come out and do trail maintenance, wonderful groups of volunteers that come out to do trail maintenance, do pickup. A lot of hikers will pick up trash. I know I pick up micro trash, small pieces of trash I find as I hike through. Seems like a lot of the trash is stuff that blew out of someone's pack or, that they left behind. But as you get closer to road crossings or towns, for instance, then the trash load tends to get heavier as people drive in and leave, things out in the backcountry or in the forest and don't clean up after themselves. So Leave No Trace, or LNT, is definitely an incredibly important part of keeping our public spaces pristine and enjoyable for everybody who follows to enjoy the place just the same way as the original people did.
Yeah, if you hiked in with the Doritos bag and it was full, you can certainly hike out with it empty.
Exactly. And especially if you drove in with the Doritos bag, you can certainly drive your Doritos bag back out.
It's smaller when you're taking it empty.
It's like so much less weighty. Absolutely. You just like crumple that little bag up into virtually nothing. And yet people have a tendency, or in some areas there's a tendency for people to leave their trash and their unwanted items or used items behind, which is unfortunate, and it's a burden on the people who do have to come out and clean up. And then, and also, people tagging signs and shelters and things like that. And that's also kind of the opposite of leave no trace. The idea is to, walk through a space or to use a public land space and to leave no mark that you were there.
So how do people get involved in their own region, and how do they support you in your effort to get the word out?
Well, basically the intention of the Public Lands Project they've been working on is kind of threefold. It's to raise, awareness of public lands and the fact that we are the public land holders and we own these lands, by virtue of paying taxes to support and upkeep them. But we also don't really have any sort of organized voice to speak up for them. So when public lands issues come up, it's our responsibility as the landowners, to make clear to our representatives that, these lands are important to us, whether you're out here. Virtually nobody, the through hiking population is very small, and it's a pretty esoteric use of public lands, but people are out there fishing, boating, canoeing, kayaking, hunting, trapping, all of these things, hiking, camping. There are so many different ways that people use public lands, not just for hiking or long distance hiking. When things come up regarding public lands, speak up and let your designated political representative know that these lands are important to you and you would like to be able to continue to have open access to them in the future. And then also to get more people out, off the couches and back out to enjoy, this beautiful country. There are public lands available in all 50 states, from federal designations like national parks all the way down to regional parks and even city parks, And so if you're interested in getting involved with maintaining or helping out your local public lands, it's super easy to do a Google search, just like public lands near me. And then publiclands.org is also a fantastic website to find out, especially in the West, what public lands are available. And it also lets you know who administers each type of public land. As for my site, I have supportpubliclands.com. Unfortunately, as I'm out here hiking, I'm not really able to update the website itself because it's template-based, so I can't update it through my phone. So I started a YouTube channel. The videos automatically, the new videos as they come up, show up on the front page of the website. You can also subscribe to my YouTube channel, and all of my social media links are available there as well. If you're interested in helping support me as I try and spread awareness and advocacy and usership of public lands, you can become a subscriber on Patreon. And the link for that is also on the front page of my website, or you can go to patreon.com/supportpubliclands. Or if you're interested in making a one-time donation, then the link for that would be paypal.me/PLP for Public Lands Project 2017, because that's when I started doing this.
Well, Michelle, thank you so much for joining us today and for what you're doing to raise awareness of public lands. Because, as we're in our cityscapes, all of us, we forget that there's this beautiful country that is important, that we need it. We need to be out in it, and we need to make sure that we continue to have it for future generations.
Absolutely, and that's the intention of the project. I hope that everybody gets out to enjoy the beautiful country that we live in, and gets out to explore the beautiful public land spots that are available to you locally.
So that's supportpubliclands.com, and you can go to Michelle's YouTube channel, and keep up on what she's doing. And the next time you're in a place where you can call us, please, please, please do.
I sure will. Thank you so much, both of you, for having me, and it's been a pleasure chatting with you both.
Thank you so much. So it's time for a break. I'm Erin Brinker.
I'm Tobin Brinker.
And I'm Todd Brinker.
And we are on the Brink, the morning show on KCAA. We'll be right back.
A lot of pond owners struggle with managing fish populations. Hi, I'm Jody Hankey. Keep good records when you go fishing to determine if the predators and their prey are in balance as you're living the country life.
Living the Country Life. Ideas and inspiration for your place in the country. You can find more information on today's topic and from previous shows by visiting us online at livingthecountrylife.com. We'll return to the show after these messages.
If you're looking for new ideas for what to do around your place in the country, register for the Living the Country Life newsletter. Once a week, you'll receive helpful tips in your inbox on a wide variety of seasonal and timely topics, along with so much more. Living the Country Life is for all those people who love to live in the country. Sign up for your free newsletter today by visiting livingthecountrylife.com.
Whenever you're online, Living the Country Life is there too. Like us on Facebook and exchange tips and ideas with people who share your love for the country way of life. Follow us on Twitter at Small Farming for timely news and information. You can also find us on Instagram and Pinterest. See the latest inspired shot from our readers or add a garden tip to your boards. Living the Country Life has all the ideas for your home acreage. Visit us online at livingthecountrylife.com and find us on social media.
Bass and bluegill are fun to fish for in a pond, and when their numbers are in balance, you can catch some real whoppers. I've been to farm ponds where there are either too many bass or too many bluegill, and the fish come out stunted. When you stock a pond, you have to manage their numbers going forward. Dave Shiley is an Extension Small Farms educator at the University of Illinois. He says if the pond is new or you're starting all over again with an older pond, the fish harvest should be done systematically.
You're not going to harvest any fish the first year, only bluegill the second year after mid-July, and they have to be a little bit bigger, 6 inches or larger. The third year then and beyond, you're going to continue to harvest bluegill, harvest bass at the middle of the summer of the third year, and then limit your bass harvest to 15 inches and larger.
When the population of bluegill and bass is about where you want it to be and the fish are the right size, Shiley says there is a rule of thumb for harvesting. For every 1 pound of bass taken out of the pond, you can remove 4 pounds of bluegill without affecting the population going into next year. A fisheries biologist can count fish by shocking the pond with an electric current, but he says it's better to write down your own data.
Every time you fish, how many hours did you fish? What did you catch? How big were they? And how many did you catch? So species, size, number, caught. And then you can call the fisheries biologist, and it's actually better data than he's going to get in that snapshot from a shocking event where he's going out with an electrofishing boat.
Using that data, the fisheries biologist can help you come up with a solution if the fish caught weren't the size they should be or there are too many of one species. Learn more about managing the fish population in your pond at livingthecountrylife.com. I'll see you in the country.
Living the Country Life. Ideas and inspiration for your place in the country. You can find more information on today's topic, share your tips, and post photos by visiting us online at livingthecountrylife.com.
This is KCAA.
I'm only happy when it rains. I'm only happy when it's complicated. And though I know you can't appreciate it, I'm only happy when
Welcome back. I'm Erin Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And I'm Todd Brinker.
And we are on the Brink, the morning show on KCAA, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and FM 102.3. And Todd, you've got a story to share with us.
I do. As those who've heard me speak before, and we've talked about the fact that I run a small swim team in Orange County. I have a young lady who was coaching with me a while back, and she's just a sweet girl. She went and got married and is starting her life with her new husband, and announced that they were expecting a baby a while back. Unfortunately, on the 22nd of this month, they delivered their baby, who was stillborn, and they're just a young family starting out, and this was just a horrible tragedy for them.
I can't imagine.
Yeah, I mean, just to have to bury your first child before you really even get to know them. is just I can't imagine the pain that they're going through. And, you know, being a young couple starting out, they don't have a lot of money, and now they're faced with not only the horrible loss that they're feeling, but they also have to bury their child. And so there's a GoFundMe site out there. So if anybody feels so moved, if you go to GoFundMe.com and do a search for Assistance for Liam's Family, there's several things will pop up, but this one has a photo of a baby's feet in the picture, so it's really easy to find. Assistance for Liam's Family, and just help them reach their goal of getting enough funds to give their child a burial. And they said that any excess will be donated to the Boston's Children's Hospital for research and study of the condition from which Liam suffered. There's also a little bit more information about her story and their baby's story. And so my thoughts and prayers have been going out to Katie and Sean, and I just wanted to share that with the listeners so that if anybody has the means and would like to help, that would be wonderful.
So there's a specific condition that the baby had?
There is. It is called...
Is it trisomy 18?
No, it was the vein of Galen brain aneurysm. And apparently it's a fairly rare thing, but it's ultimately not survivable. And very sadly, they found out about this at one point in the pregnancy, fairly late. And so they've been sad and been obviously, trying to come to grips with that.
So I've just pulled it up. It's super easy to find. If you go to GoFundMe and search for Assistance for Liam's Family. This is what they said. To say Liam was a surprise would be an understatement, but to Sean and Katie, he was the best surprise that would have come. They quickly fell in love with him and began their preparations for his arrival. With every ultrasound picture and movement, their love for him grew more and more. However, in May 2018, at 6 months pregnant, they learned of complications followed by devastating news. It all began with the discovery of a dilated supravena cava. The doctors at first had determined this was not a serious issue, but wanted to keep a close eye on it. A few weeks later, after further investigations, doctors found the root of the issue was much more serious than they had ever expected. Liam was found to have a vein of Galen brain aneurysm, which is a very rare abnormality. There have been only 20 reported cases in the U.S., less than a 1% chance of occurrence. This condition was causing fluid to drain down in his major organs, including the heart and stomach. He was initially given a very small percentage of survival, but after close evaluation, it was determined that Liam's heart was going to fail with no available options. Katie was faced with two options at that point: termination or allowing him to die naturally. After many heartfelt conversations and doctor evaluations, it was decided that the latter would be the best option for both Katie and Liam. For weeks, Liam's condition worsened and worsened, and Katie became sicker and sicker. But Katie would treasure every kick, every moment, knowing that these were the only moments she would experience with her son. On Friday, July 20th, during a routine appointment, Katie was found to have developed preeclampsia and mirroring syndrome. It was determined that it was no longer safe for Katie's health to continue with the pregnancy, and it was induced. After 48 hours of labor, Liam Michael Ryan was stillborn on July 22nd, 2018. Forever in our hearts, this angel will be. You were born silent, perfect, and beautiful, still loved, still missed, still remembered every day, stillborn, but still born. So, yeah.
Wow. Yeah, thank you for reading that.
Sure. It's devastating. Any point in time, the hardest thing that any family has to go through is the death of a child. And it doesn't matter if that child is 5 minutes old when the child dies, or, 500 years old. Of course, we don't live to be 500. But, it's...
You don't.
If you could help out this family, it would be very, you can't buy life. Here's the thing. People use GoFundMe as a life insurance policy. You can't buy life insurance for an unborn child. And so, there's no way that a family could prepare for this.
Yeah.
So with that, we are we're going to end our show for today. Todd, it was so awesome having you with us today.
Hey, thanks for having me back. Sorry to end on a very sad note, but really happy to be here. It was a great morning.
So I'm going to play some peppy music to put you all back in a good mood. I'm Erin Brinker.
I'm Tobin Brinker.
And I'm Todd Brinker.
And we are On the Brink, the morning show on KCAA.
KCAA Loma Linda, 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and now 102.3 FM.